Morning. Well done. How are you feeling? Bright and breezy. It is great to have you with me. Whew. My name is Ed. This is the Faith in Kids Daily Bible Time. I'm doing this on Wednesday. Whatever day you're doing this, it is great to have you with us. Terrific. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, thank you for sending us your pictures. Your pictures bring me so much joy. It reminds me that we're doing this together. We are walking through Mark's Gospel together. So here we are. Here is Lex, Kitty and Susie. They have got some sort of leopard and a snake and a bear, and it does look a lot like a bowl full of sweets. So for the moment, I'm a bit baffled what that is, but don't let that worry you. I'm so pleased you sent me the photo. Here we have Amelia, who is absolutely getting into her Bible. Are you preparing for today's story, Amelia? Thank you so much. Amelia, you keep going. Did you even know someone was taking your photo? And here we have Joel and Toby. Look at you. Toast is getting eaten. You have the largest container of figures ever. That is so much bigger than mine. Joel and Toby, you keep going. Thank you so much for this photo. Evie and Charlie, the Hamilton clan. Charlie, I just want to say you don't eat your crusts. But fortunately, that doesn't matter. I'm not sure that Jesus ate his. But what you are doing is looking at the Bible each day. That is terrific news. You have got so many things on that table. You've got an owl, a rocket, something fluffy. If only I knew what story that was. Are you getting ready for today? Well done. Figures at the ready. Guy and Philippa. Thank you so much. I think that is definitely a Last Supper meal. I can see there a wine and a bread roll. Is that what's going on there, Philippa? Have you just tried a drop of wine? Okay. And here I have the Mighty Silk family. Thank you so much for sending me this photo. Look at those smiles. I think it's a smile. It might be a grimace. It is lovely to see you. Thank you for sending me this. Your figures are at the ready. Your bowls are empty and you are totally ready for another day. I look forward to seeing you in the flesh at some point. Here we go. Now, I think it's time to look at this story. Okay? Now, can you tell me, is there anything you really don't like doing? Mum tells you it's cabbage for supper. Oh, what do you say to that? Do you get excited or, oh, Mum, really? Dad says he's taking you all for a walk. Oh, does that get a sigh? Dad, do we have to? Today, it's hair washing day. Is that a problem for you? Maybe it's not. Or perhaps it is just another piece of homework. Oh. Lockdown is essentially never-ending homework. What is it that makes you go, oh, do I have to? Today's story, Jesus is honestly saying, do I have to? But it is not about homework, and it is not even about washing his hair. Should we find out what it is? Okay, are you going to pray this one? Okay, it's all on you. Who's praying today? Hands up. Okay. What do you find difficult about family Bible time? What wrecks it? Okay, so pray about that. Ready? Hands together, eyes closed. You're praying. 3, 2, 1, go! Amen. Great prayer. I'm absolutely certain it was. Okay, now, Do you remember where we are? Do you remember where we are? Okay, so yesterday, Jesus and his disciples left the upper room. Jesus and his disciples were on their way to the Garden of Gethsemane. Okay, the Mount of Olives. All right, okay, here we are. So here are some of his disciples. You decide how many you want. You've got them ready. There we go. We're totally ready for this. Okay. Jesus and his followers went to a place called Gethsemane. That's hard to say. Gethsemane. He said to his followers, sit here while I pray. So let's put them all together in a corner to pray. Okay, there they are. Sit in a corner, sit here while I pray. Jesus told Peter, James, and John to come with him. Okay, so they're up here, right? Okay. And then Jesus is just here. Okay, so we've got this. Some of his disciples are over here. Peter, James, and John are just with Jesus, and now Jesus is going to pray. I'm going to sit him down because he can't kneel, because Duplo men can't kneel. Then Jesus began to be very sad and troubled. He said to them, I am full of sorrow. My heart is breaking with sadness. Stay here and watch. Okay, we're totally clear. Boys, got it? You stay here and watch. Jesus is full of sadness. It is the saddest Jesus has ever been. Jesus walked a little further away from them. Then he fell on the ground and prayed. Okay, that is Jesus praying. Okay, he fell on the ground and prayed that if possible, he would not have this time of suffering. Are you following? Jesus is praying about what is going to happen to him the next day when he will be taken to be crucified. He knows exactly what is going to happen. He knows it's going to hurt. He knows it's going to be suffering. He prayed, if possible, he would not have this time of suffering. He prayed, Abba, Father, dear Father in heaven, you can do all things. Let me not have this cup of suffering, but do what you want, not what I want. Okay, we're just going to pause there for a moment. Dear Father, you can do all things. Let me not have this cup of suffering. Now, Jesus didn't really have a mug. Okay, so I'm using this to explain what he meant by a cup of suffering. In the Old Testament, the cup was a cup full of God's anger at our sin. Okay, now Jesus's cup was completely empty because there was no sin, so there is no anger from God at his sin. Are you following? If this is a cup full of how God feels at his sin, it's totally empty. So why did Jesus say, I don't want to have to drink this cup? Well, the reason is that on the cross, if this is my cup of God's anger at my sin, on the cross Jesus took my cup. Have you ever done anything wrong? Have you ever said no to God? Have you ever not listened to him? Have you ever said no to your parents? Have you ever lied, cheated, thought mean things, not done the right thing? God's anger at your sin. Sorry to say, it's in this cup. If you're trusting Jesus, that anger was put into Jesus's cup. Now, I know this is hard to believe. Ready for the shock? Your dad is not perfect. God's anger at his sin, if he's trusting Jesus, went into the cup. your church leader. Who knew? He is a sinner too. God's anger at his or her sin, it's in there. See? Suddenly, God's anger in this cup is huge. It is huge. Do you know, you will have realised I only just put 4 cups in. 4 cups of God's anger at our sin. Imagine if we put in here God's anger at the sin of every Christian, of everyone who is trusting Jesus. What a lot of anger at sin. So when Jesus says, "Dear Father, please let me not have to drink this cup of suffering," no one would want to take this much anger on themselves. But because Jesus loves you and me so much, Father, do what you want, not what I want. Father, if you want me to drink all of this down to the bottom, if you want me to take all the anger at everyone's sin, then I'll drink it. How much love Jesus has for you and I. Then Jesus went back to his followers and he found them asleep. There they are, they're asleep. He said to Peter, "Simon, are you sleeping? You couldn't stay awake with me for 1 hour? Stay awake and pray you'll not be tempted. Your spirit wants to do what is right, but your body is weak. You want to stay awake, but you can't." Again, Jesus went away and prayed the same thing. "Dear Father, if there is any way for me not to drink this cup of your anger at their sin, please find another way. But if there isn't another way, I'll do it." Then he went back to the followers who were desperately trying to stay awake. But when he got there, he definitely found that they were all asleep. Again, he found them asleep because their eyes were very heavy and they did not know what to say to Jesus. Sorry. After Jesus prayed a 3rd time, "Dear Father, I don't want to have to drink this cup. It's going to hurt so much. But if there's no other way, I will do it." He went back a 3rd time. He said to them, "You are still sleeping and resting. That's enough. The time has come for the Son of Man to be given to sinful people. Get up. We must go. We must go. Here comes the man who has turned against me." Do you know who he can see coming in the distance? Do you know who it is? That is what you are going to do tomorrow. Because tomorrow you are going to be in the very next verse, verse 43, and it is DIY Thursday. Do it yourself Thursday. You did it so well last week, you're going to do it this week. Just like last week, I've got the questions ready for you. I've got the passage ready for you. On the question slide, you'll see that I've written out which verses you're looking at tomorrow. Write down the verses. And then, after today's questions, you are going to pray. Prayer. You are going to thank Jesus that he took your cup. Have you ever asked Jesus to drink your cup for you? Have you ever said to him, you want to put... Have you ever asked Jesus and said, you want to put your cup, God's anger, in his cup so that he dies for you? That's called becoming a Christian. You are going to pray. You are going to share. I love it when people share this. When people say to their mates, come on in. We're about to look at the most amazing 3 days in history. And then you're going to prepare. Now, tomorrow's the big one. Children, it's on you. You have to prepare this so that when mum and dad come down and sit down at the table, you say, we are gonna smash this. I've prepared the passage. Ed's got the questions. Sit here. Let's go. Okay, that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So for that, you're going to have to scribble down the verses. Before bed tonight, your plastic figures, you're going to work out how you're going to tell the story. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, you get going with the verses, with your plastic figures. Tomorrow features swords, blood, and nudity. It's all happening. And then, just as normal, YouTube and Facebook will give you the questions and you'll say, we did it! And you take a photo of you grinning like idiots. We did it! And send it straight to us. info@faithinkids.org. Clear? That's tomorrow. I won't be here because you don't need me. Here are some questions. 3s to 5s. While Jesus was praying, what did his friends do? While Jesus was praying, what did his friends do? Can you remember? 5s to 7s. What was Jesus so worried about? What was Jesus so worried about? Can you remember? What was Jesus asking his Father to do for him? How did God answer? Do you know how God answered that prayer? And then finally, over 11s. If Jesus hadn't taken the cup of God's anger at sin, where would it have gone? Do you know? Okay. There are the questions. Can you see that I've written there? Mark 14, 43 to 52. Magical verses. Swords, blood, nudity. It's all there. Can you prepare that for tomorrow? Scribble those verses down. I'll leave you now. Press pause. I won't see you tomorrow. I'll definitely see you on Friday. Bye-bye.